locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to the whole effing show.
What is this?
Huh? You like that with the thumbs?
Just say the word.
No, I got to do the thumbs too. I got to do the thing.
You know who's sick of your impressions and has two thumbs?
Who?
This guy right here.
Stop it.
So can we move on, please?
That was the Rob Van Dam. Okay, the whole effing show.
When are you going to do a Rob Van Winkle impression?
I could do a Rob Van Winkle.
You know who that is?
Vanilla Ice.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
Just making
I
sure
know
you're-
my music.
Just making
Why
sure
do
you
you
knew
always
your
play
90s.
these games with me? You know I know my music.
Because
all right?
any man that wears a fanny pack doesn't know much about much.
Again with my fanny. Are you jealous? I'm going to get you one.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
I will punch
Okay?
you right in the
I'll
face.
get you a leather one, too.
Listen, I'm a lover of all people, and I abhor violence. I will punch you right in the face.
I'm going to get you a leather fanny pack so you can be – because, you know, when you get the leather, that means you got some money. That means you got a couple of bucks in your pocket.
That's where you keep your pager.
That's it. That's where you keep your pager. Did I tell you I had a pager with voicemail connected to it?
Still?
Yes, because I'm a doctor. Yes.
I didn't have a pager.
Really? Yeah,
we didn't have that kind of money.
Well, what do they used to say? If you had a pager, you're either a doctor or a drug dealer. There was no in between.
There is no in between.
That's it.
Because there's no need for it in
Well,
between.
that's the thing.
Because everyone had a payphone at that time. So who
True.
cares?
Yeah. And did you really need to be found that much?
No.
I mean,
it's either you're a doctor.
yeah.
Okay, we
Yeah.
get that.
Sure.
Or you're a drug dealer, or your wife doesn't trust you.
Ooh.
Let's be honest.
Ooh.
Because
Yeah, well, yeah.
you know, why do you need to be, especially in the pre-internet world?
I know.
No one expected to know where the hell you were and what you were eating and pictures of this and that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It was the precursor of bad things to come.
See? Now they have GPS tracking on your phone and all this
Do they have
nonsense.
GPS tracking on your fanny pack? I just didn't know if you had like a
Dude.
modern version.
Folks, I'm going to repeat the story that
Please
I keep
don't.
telling. I was in
Please
Las
don't.
Vegas. I went to the bar. This is a bar where the robots serve you.
See, you're burying the lead here. You were in Las Vegas playing the penny slots like a 95-year-old woman.
And enjoying myself,
Yeah,
by
okay.
the way.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Drinking well vodka.
And I was getting very lubricated with it.
Yeah. Yeah, bet you were.
And I said, "What's the special?" and the lovely bartender behind the bar
Said, Grandpa, with your fanny pack for you, an Ensure and some prune juice.
No, she said, "I am." And she was very excited about it. And she complimented my fanny pack. And I
You
put it on
realize that-
video.
you realize
I
that-
recorded it.
Because you're insane.
Yes.
Bartenders compliment you because they work for tips, dumbass.
Well, hey, fine with me. I still won that
Can we
round.
move this show along so I
won
can get the hell out
that
of here, please?
round, fanny
I've
pack
got
and all.
things to do,
Give me a
and
break.
it's not this show.
Welcome back to Duke Loves Wrestling. I am the Duke. And yes, I do enjoy wearing a fanny pack.
You're the only one that does.
I do enjoy drinking from the well.
You're the only one that does.
And I do enjoy getting complimented for tips. I don't care. It's still a compliment. I'm taking it. All right? And I'm going to keep on doing it no matter what my illustrious co-host, the Boston Bad Boy, I'm Mike Pelosi, said.
And I know that you're a man who likes a deal. Did you at least tip well?
Of course, I always tip. well.
Okay.
You know why?
You didn't use a coupon
Because
after all that?
I used a coupon to get a 2-for-1 on the drink. So, of course, I tipped well after that.
Because I'm
You know
sure
I'm
after that
cheap.
compliment, she was like, oh, this guy's dropping a coupon here.
Let me tell you something. When I go to Vegas, I kill Vegas. All right? That's it. They don't know what's going on when I go to Vegas.
Neither do we, and we didn't go with you.
What are the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling?
I don't care.
We're going to find out during Run the Ropes whether you like it or not. We have a body-positive model, Loli Luxe. She drops by for a hell of an interview.
I thought I was the positivity in this
No,
show.
I don't know about that. You're pretty negative. All of that plus so much more. But before we get to any of that, Boston Bad Boy.
What?
St. Patrick's Day is coming up.
Aye, and there's only one Irishman at this bar.
That's right, me.
No.
I am 34% Irish. Northern Irish.
You're 34% Northern
Yeah, I
Irish.
did the whole DNA mapping thing
Really?
and all that. And
you know,
found
my
that out.
friend, my very good friend Michelle, just sent me as an early birthday present one of those ancestry DNA kits.
You have to
now,
do it.
I'm a dirty Italian,
Yeah.
and I know that my family both my grandmothers are Irish,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of know we have the paperwork and all that. But she said, "Listen, find out where it goes way back."
Yeah, of course.
So I think that I can't wait to find out, and I feel it deep down that I am part Wakandan. And I will therefore be able to be the Black
you will
Panther
be
at
the
one
Black
day.
Panther. That's
So
it.
when that happens,
Yes.
I expect a custom dashiki for me
Okay.
when we find that out.
But I keep telling you that you have to give me my own land. Like, I mean, it's.
No, you get nothing. I have those women warriors.
Yeah,
and
they're pretty tough.
They're going to take you out first and foremost.
I will die happy. That's fine.
Listen, as long as you die, it doesn't matter to me.
Well, thanks. Thanks for nothing. St. Patty's Day is coming up, folks.
Yeah,
so
what about it?
we're in Boston.
It's amateur hour. Come on.
We have the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the whole world.
I thought Chicago did.
No, not even Ireland does it like we do it, which is why they come here to learn how to do it. And then they've been replicating it in Ireland.
I have to say, as much as my grandmothers were Irish, as much as I love the Irish culture, as much as I grew up Michael Flatley in with his Lord of the Dance, I can only take about 3.5 seconds of Irish fiddle music.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't. Especially if you've been, it makes you kind of induces vomit.
Don't talk about my people like that. All right, those are my peeps.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
Oh, boy. But yeah, St. Patrick's Day, I try to stay away. Work is forcing me to go to some event this year.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to do it.
Green beer and all, huh?
Oh, yeah, the whole bit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and get out of it as quickly as I can, unscathed.
You know my family, we do the corned beef.
That's disgusting.
We do the cabbage.
Now, listen.
We put the carrots in it.
Why do you want to eat like a cave person?
I love corned beef.
It's disgusting.
I love it.
It's fatty. It's not healthy.
I love
it's
fatty.
Disgusting.
I love fatty. Give me the fat. That's it. Okay? So we do the corned beef. We do a little stone mustard on top, which I love, actually. Do the cabbage, do the carrots, and a little Guinness. A little Guinness.
What's it like in that house after that dinner? I think it's a little gassy. if I'm 100% honest, I think.
Why are you so rude?
I think there might. I'm just saying with the nitrogen from the Guinness, it's like you can't get away from it.
You
And
just
that's
claim
why.
to be positive. Look at you.
Well, that's why we're bringing someone else who actually is positive.
Yeah, because you certainly aren't it, pal. I'm telling you right now. So happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. Please be careful.
Yeah.
Don't overdo it. Have a good time.
And don't be a stereotype, for Christ's sake.
Please. Please, especially the college kids. You know who I'm talking to. You come in from out of town, you ruin our city with your nonsense.
And your vomit. I don't want to see
vomit
it.
everywhere.
Can't even wear your nice shoes out on St. Patty's Day.
You're
You might get
urinating
puked
all
on.
over the Boston Commons. I mean, just give me a break. Don't do these things, please. And with that said, run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. It's when I educate this knucklehead Boston bad boy on the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go.
I don't have the bell ready, so just go.
No, we need the bell. Stop trying to cut corners here, okay?
Anything I can do to try and get this show over
No,
with.
you're slacking. John Cena wants to be the host of Blue's Clues.
This is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard of. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. And I said before we started the show, there's something I want to talk to you about, and this is it.
Why do you have a problem with John Cena?
Because
your
first
problem?
of all, his dungarees are too tight.
Yeah.
Okay?
Here we go.
First and foremost. Secondly, he's overexposed and he's boring. He's so effing boring. I'm sick of him. So it's bad enough that he's boring for adults. We're going to have this guy molding the minds of young children? Absolutely not. You know, that guy Steve's a bit of a weirdo who hosts the Blues Clues. But John Cena, no way. Listen, Ringo Starr was Mr. Conductor. You know, George Carlin was Mr. Conductor. You know, all these guys got involved in these kids' shows. Cena, you don't have the personality. You don't even have enough personality for your own gimmick.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
No, I say no, and I don't even want to hear any more about it.
No. John Cena, I support you being the new Steve on Blue's Clues.
God, you are so milquetoast. It's unbelievable.
I don't know what milk toast is. What is that?
Just look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and you'll find
it
out.
must be fantastic.
Milk toast.
It's fantastic. Roman Reigns suspended by Vince McMahon.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is part of a storyline here.
Yeah, of course.
He is temporarily suspended because Vince McMahon hates Roman Reigns, allegedly. Reigns is on a collision course with Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania. Looks like Brock is going away because he's going to go back to the UFC. Reigns is going to win the title. So the real push and pull, the real storyline is Reigns versus the McMahon family. How do you feel? Are you going to root for Roman Reigns now because he's going against Mr.
Listen,
McMahon?
I've always rooted for Roman Reigns just because you don't like him.
He's my arch nemesis.
All right, you don't have an arch nemesis.
He's
You're
nothing
insane.
but a pumped up, overstuffed punk from the gym.
First of all, you know I don't even
get out of my life.
I don't even watch professional.
Get rid of the contract.
I can't
get out of this
I
business.
can't stand professional wrestling. The McMahons are idiots. I don't care, but I will vote and root for Roman Reigns no matter what because I know it will piss you off.
Disgraceful. Asuka challenges Charlotte Flair. That's right. You know, Asuka, she won the Women's Royal Rumble. And now she has made it known. Her title match at WrestleMania will be against Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte. And it's going to be pretty awesome.
You think Rick will be there?
Yeah, Rick will definitely be there.
Crowd,
Of course.
throw a chair in or something, just kind of meddle.
What?
No, he might come in and meddle, help his daughter out.
Stop it.
Why not? That'd be classic.
He might get kicked by Asuka if he tries to get involved.
Listen,
It wouldn't be the first woman
it'd
to
be a
kick
good
him.
time to. Well, it's certainly not going to be the last either. I mean, if we know Ric Flair.
You know that song, Ric Flair Drip? We played it and all that. The video has Ric Flair in it, as you saw.
Yeah.
And now the song is climbing the Billboard charts.
It just sounds like a euphemism for the clap. So I just don't
Stop
think
it.
that Ric Flair drip is
Can you,
something I want.
But can you imagine if Ric Flair wins a Grammy? Will
that'd
that
be
not
amazing.
just be the most...
Is that better than an EGOT? You know what I mean? It's like, Flair's got the Hall of Fame,
Sure,
wrestling,
sure.
a Grammy. He's been in movies.
And he's going to be in more movies.
Imagine if we get Ric Flair to win the it'd be like Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah.
Ric Flair, EGOT.
That's it.
The Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony.
Make it happen.
I could see Ric Flair on Broadway.
Why not?
Like
Ooh,
the story of his life?
sure.
A musical?
I would watch it.
That's amazing.
See?
Did we just give away an idea there?
We just did it.
You bastard.
Kid Rock booed.
Good.
So Kid Rock,
So stupid.
he has participated in WWE events for years.
F him.
Providing songs
Don't
and things
care.
of that nature,
Awful songs.
soundtracks. So he's going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of
Are
Fame.
you kidding me?
Celebrity Wing.
Yeah. And I saw this.
Yeah.
And I believe Porter posted
Yeah,
this.
Porter. Yeah.
And
Everyone booed.
And I said to him,
Yeah.
did I not just tell Duke in the last show that we did that the WWE Hall of Fame is an effing sham? And our guest agreed with me.
Be careful.
Our guest agreed with me.
Be careful.
And
Okay?
Lenny agrees with me.
Stop it.
Okay?
Okay.
So here's what's going to happen.
Oh, boy.
You're on notice, WWE Hall
No,
of Fame.
no, you're not.
I'm going to call you out every time you have some moron like Trump,
Stop it.
some moron like Kid Rock,
Stop
who
it.
probably, between the two of them, don't have as many brain cells as real wrestlers who deserve to be in there, who went out and actually worked for a living and made money for Vince McMahon.
I don't like what you're saying right now.
I don't care that you don't like it. It's the truth.
Boy. Congratulations, Kid Rock.
I'm so done with you.
The number one story in the world of professional wrestling is
Don't care.
the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal name change.
That's just happened today.
Yes.
I actually,
breaking news.
Yes. So I actually still have this up. So here's
Please,
what happened.
Please.
Let's give a little storyline because we're gonna get into this later on in the show
Okay.
because
Are you going to be nice?
doesn't matter. Don't worry about me.
Okay.
But what I'm going to say is, so Moolah, very famous female wrestler, one of the first big names, worked way back with Vince Sr. Anyway, she's not so clean, as we could say. But we're going to get into that later on. But what I wanted to say about the news, they had this event titled with her name in it, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But wrestling fans aren't dumb. Surprise, surprise. A lot of the people who listen to this show, questionable. But on a whole,
They're wrestling fans.
wrestling fans are pretty savvy.
Be careful because some of my friends out there, shout out to Foot Tat and some of the crew out there. They're pretty awesome people.
A petition was launched at change.org to change the name of the Battle Royal, which it's got close to 10,000 signatures.
And I think it's got more. There's more than one petition.
Fans also went directly to where it hurts Vince McMahon the most, the wallet.
Yeah.
Snickers
Yep.
and their parent company Wrigley released a statement. We're recently made aware of the World Wrestling Entertainment Inc.'s decision to honor a former wrestler during the upcoming WrestleMania 34 event. As a principle-based business that has a long championed creative inclusive environments and that encourage and empower everyone to reach their full potential, this is unacceptable. We are engaging with the WWE to express our disappointment, meaning you don't change the name, we're pulling our effing money out.
And it's
guess
Wrigley.
what happened?
What?
They changed the name.
See? That's what happens. Now, speaking of Wrigley, look at that.
I do like the double mint.
I like the double mint.
But the spearmint, the white package, is my favorite.
It's pretty good, but double mint, there's just something about double mint.
Well, it's the whole twins thing. you know?
Juicy fruit is good, but it doesn't last long enough. It doesn't last long
Like Big
enough.
Red.
Yeah,
It's there and
Big
then it's
Red's
gone.
not bad. Yeah,
It's there and it's gone.
But Dentine does the cinnamon gum that's very good.
I'm a big fan of the
Yes,
Dentine.
yes,
You remember
yes,
the
yes.
grape flavored gum?
Oh,
that
yes.
was it was like square.
That
like
was
a
good
cube.
stuff. Yep.
That was good stuff. That
Yep.
was one I always wanted at in the checkout line.
Of course.
You beg your come on, Ma.
Remember when we were kids and there was a fruit stripe gum?
Oh, gross.
That
the
was
zebra,
awesome.
No, it looked like it was good, but it was disgusting.
And you could eat the paper.
What?
Did you ever eat the paper? The gum with the wrapper. Just eat the whole thing.
You ate paper.
Yeah.
That explains a lot about why I'm stuck doing this show.
This guy is so rude. Folks, you've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk?
Yep.
Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Wrestling and let me know. I don't like when you say yup. It is very rude when you say yup. Okay? Get it together. Jesus. Up next, body positive model Loli Luxe.
Hey, this is Daniel Richards, the progressive liberal. I want you to remember to vote Democrat, turn this country around, continue listening to one of the best out there, the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast.
So people are always complimenting me on my laugh, and it always reminds me of very early on in my career going to culinary school. There was a girl in my class who would look at me, and several times she told me, "You have the most jarring laugh." And I just kind of looked at her like, what do you want me to do? She's like, "Well, it's so boisterous, and it just kind of is jarring." And I was like, "Well, I'm sorry. I like to have fun, and you can't really stop me from laughing." I don't know. I just had to kind of brush it off, and it just kind of makes me laugh that it's one of my most complimented, features, I guess. And I don't know. People will always find some reason to bring you down.
So did this girl, was she like jealous of you, or what was that all about? Why did she have a problem with your laugh?
Well, I had a crush on the same boy, and I don't know. She felt like it was a threat for some reason, but I don't know. It was just silly school stuff.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. So do you run into those sort of issues often there, or at least through your life, where you're either misunderstood or people give you a hard time for something as simple as like your laugh? Like you have like you said, a boisterous laugh, but it's kind of cool.
Duke is asking this only because he gets made fun of constantly about every aspect of his life.
Constantly.
For instance, he likes to wear a fanny pack out in public, and if you're not laughing at that, you have no sense of humor.
So, do you have a problem with somebody wearing a fanny pack?
I remember I begged my mom for this Minnie Mouse backpack when I was a child, and it was my very first tourist souvenir. Mm-hmm. And so there's photos of me as a chubby little 6-year-old with a Minnie Mouse.
See that?
I don't think the one that I saw Duke wearing was a Minnie Mouse fanny pack, but I should get one. Listen, I wouldn't say he doesn't have one in his collection. I'm just going to put it that way.
I should get one.
I guarantee there's strange stuff. No, don't say that.
Yes, you hear that? Tell him.
Do not make me hang up on you by putting ideas in this man's head.
Stop.
I wouldn't want to be that mean.
Would you stop being so rude?
Would you stop wearing fanny packs?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, well, then I'm not going to stop being rude.
All right. So Loli Luxe, let's talk about this here because, first of all, you're a model, which is pretty cool. And anyone who visits your various social media accounts or your Patreon page, they can see that.
Yeah.
But how do you classify the style of modeling that you do? Because there's so many different terms and phrases and all this other stuff. I'm no expert. I say model. But how would you classify your modeling?
I usually go by a body positive model.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Well, for me, it means that I support, well, first of all, everybody, haha. But it's also I support people who look like normal people. I am a normal person, and I'm not 6'2". I'm not 110 pounds, but I'm fucking hot, and I know how to take a good picture.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to sign
Boston
off on
Bad
that.
Boy was looking at some of your work, and he's very.
Listen, it's research for the show, Duke. Okay, and it's tax deductible.
But you didn't have to put on aftershave. She can't. She's not here. She can't see you.
You never know. Sometimes guests drop by, and you want to make sure that you're prepared.
You're ridiculous. You know that. Yeah. You're ridiculous. So you're body positive.
Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Oh,
exactly right. Thank you, Duke. If I don't look good, you don't look good.
Oh, okay.
So just remember that.
Thanks a lot. So you're body positive, and it's interesting because as you know, this is a pro wrestling podcast, and in pro wrestling, everybody is so fixated on their look. It's part of their gimmick. It's part of their moneymaker, basically. You want to look larger than life and what have you. What are some of the correlations that you find in the modeling industry that you would compare to the wrestling industry there? Because I know that there's some overlap there.
Well, I think one of the largest ones would definitely be body image issues. when you make your money off of how you look, of course it's going to make you super critical of everything. And you're the only person that lives in your skin day in and day out. And so it's very easy for, a friend or, a fan, even if you look up to certain celebrities, to kind of idealize and worship your bodies. But at the end of the day, you're the one that's there at night, and you're the one that feels insecure on certain days. And I think that's something that is kind of known about both industries, but definitely isn't talked about enough.
Because one of the things that's interesting about you, and this is really why we connected so well there, you're a mental health advocate. You're somebody that always talks about mental health. You're very upfront about challenges that you and members of your family have dealt with in relation to mental health, and you're always encouraging others to push through that stuff. Talk to us about that. How did you come up with the concept of using your body positive imaging and modeling to bring awareness to mental health?
Well, I think it's kind of a train that's already started. We've started to see celebrities start to, get larger. They're not the Hollywood stick-thin person. And it's being accepted and praised, and it's not being shamed finally. And that's great, but I think we can do a lot better. And so the thing that we're not talking about is our mental health. We talk about our physical health and what we look like, but nobody talks about, what's going on inside our heads. And I think it's really indicative of our entire, society and our culture right now that we have over 43 million Americans affected by mental health issues. And the number one, of course, being generalized anxiety disorders. And the second one is depression. And they're not spoken about enough. It's always, of course, a taboo subject to speak, I went to the shrink. It's like, why did you need to do that? Are you crazy? And it's isolating people who are already suffering. And that's just a really shitty thing to do.
Indeed.
So, in the online world, it's difficult. I'm sure you do a lot of, stuff that ends up online. We know that trolls are the worst human beings around, and especially for attractive women, because we are going through some horrible vomiting up of the human condition in the past couple of years. How do you handle that? And other women who are gamers or actresses or models or artists, I mean, what do you say to them to face this kind of thing when they have a message with their art and they want to be taken seriously?
Well, I think just keep at it. Keep speaking up, because you don't know who's listening.
Right.
You don't know who you're inspiring. It kind of dawned on me in all this, and some of the struggle that I had to get over in the beginning was, am I a model? Like these photos, my first portfolio photos were not meant for any of this.
Oh.
No, they were personally paid for, and they were. One of them was a best friend photo shoot that my best friend surprised me with for my birthday last year. Actually, that's the first time I ever modeled nude, ever. Was my best friend. And it was the most empowering, and oh my God, when I saw those photos, I cried. I had never felt so beautiful. And one of the things that I personally struggle with my body image issues is my identity. And that is because I grew up very racially ambiguous. I didn't know I was black until I was 23. And so all of my self-identity and all of that processing routines and stuff had already happened. And so I identified with change, with with love, with kindness, with, qualities rather than a nationality. And it was really hard for me every time I had to fill out like a form to go to college, for example, and they ask you what you are. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she's like, well, why don't you just pick one? And I realized she didn't get it, because I can't one day I find out what I am, and all this time I've, spent 15, 20, 25 years, thinking I was Samoan or thinking I was Hispanic, which is what I got a lot of growing up. My hair is blonde now, and surprisingly enough, I get compared to Beyonce. I've gotten that a few times, which always is a great mood booster compared to Queen Bey. But it didn't. My looks don't define me because I wasn't a looker, as you would say, until after high school.
Duke, I was a late bloomer as well. I didn't know if you know that, but I didn't become this handsome.
You're still blooming.
I didn't become this handsome until much after high school.
You're still blooming.
I just wanted to let you know.
You might have missed it. Forget about late. I think.
No, I'm still on the upward swing, my friend.
I don't know about
I'm only like Sean Connery. I'm only getting better looking as age goes on.
I don't know about that. We're talking to.
See?
Oh, jeez. You pushed the wrong button there.
No, you've pushed the right button, lass. I just thought that perhaps we could get together after the show and talk about how good looking we both now are.
That's enough. Okay. We're talking to Loli Luxe, body positive image model here. Loli, now this is a pro wrestling show. We've been talking about modeling, mental health. We've been talking about all this stuff here, but this is a pro wrestling show in its heart of hearts. So tell us, everyone has a pro wrestling story, okay?
Yeah.
Tell us your pro wrestling story.
I actually grew up watching WWF. Of course, there was Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and
she's much younger than I thought she was. I was expecting you were going to say Hulk Hogan or something, and then I realized I'm suddenly very old. But that means I'm just better looking.
Stop it.
There was also Hogan.
Keep going. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But my favorite was Chyna.
Why? Why Chyna?
Why do you think? She's badass.
Yeah.
She could hang with the boys. She's fucking gorgeous. And she was just as strong as any of the boys. And I really identified with that. I was a husky kid growing up. And one thing that I always prided myself on was my strength. And so, I don't know. I think I just, Chyna was my girl.
Can I just say, I've never heard anybody use the term husky except my grandmother, and I thought that perhaps that was something that was invented here in Boston, and I'm so happy that that's a real word and that's a real term.
The other side of the damn country.
Yeah, and she's husky, so I'm just happy that's a thing.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I may be 27, but on the inside, I'm an 80-year-old grandma.
There it is.
That's amazing.
Is all decorated in antiques.
Do you make like a Sunday gravy, with the meatballs and the pasta and everything? I'm just asking. I'm asking.
I'm actually a trained chef.
Oh, my God.
No, you cannot go over and eat her food. No, you're not invited.
I graduated took my class from culinary school in 2015.
Why don't you ever let me meet these interesting people, Duke?
Because
you don't tell me about these people.
Because you're strange, okay?
All right.
You're strange.
He doesn't want to scare him away.
Yeah.
Trust me.
She knows.
That's not what it is.
Lucky for you, I'm really weird.
Well,
so.
Lucky for you, you're not here because you'd know in a heartbeat that I'm the one you want to hang out with.
Oh,
certainly not Duke.
Give me a
Trust
break.
me, 2 minutes looking at this guy in his sweater vest, you'd be running for the hills.
Give me a break. That's right. That's right. That's right. Loli Luxe, if anyone wants to check out some of your fantastic modeling or see your message, I mean, especially when you talk about mental health and body positive, you really got some great stuff going on there. Plug your social media. What's the best way that they can reach out and check your stuff out?
I'm the most active by far on Instagram, and you can follow me at Loli Luxe. That's LOLILUXE. And to support my art and support my message, you can follow me at patreon.com/LoliLuxe. Patreon is spelled Patreon.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And lastly there, do you have anyone you want to give a shout out to? Because I know that you have a pretty solid team behind you that's helping this Loli Luxe thing continue to grow.
Yes. Shout out to Lux Industries. My girls, we're a group of fierce femmes, and we're all survivors of various forms of abuse. And this whole project is really backed by kind of all of us, and it's a creative vision that's kind of on its way, and I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Two things before.
Email.
Oh, you're giving out an email too? Go ahead.
No, don't give him your email.
No, well,
please.
I was gonna say,
Please.
two things. One, I'm going to follow you on Instagram in a non-weird way.
That's a lie.
In a non-weird way.
It's going to be very weird.
And I promise I won't send you strange direct messages. Two, I just wanted to.
If you want the weird stuff, you have to follow me on Patreon.
Okay, I'll do both. How about that?
Oh, God.
And secondly, earlier, Loli talked about nude photos being very empowering. Duke, my birthday's coming up very soon, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to have some nude photos done of myself, and then you and I can talk about how empowered I now feel.
I don't want you to be empowered, please.
Good.
No.
I'll come pose with you.
You know what?
What
Look
is
at this. Do you see what we're creating? We're creating art here.
Can we do that? Can we do that? I would totally come. I've always wanted to come to Boston. I want an excuse to meet you guys. Let's do it.
Only if they're tasteful. I only work tastefully.
I only do tasteful nudes.
Okay.
What is going on with this show?
You know what, Duke? We're creating art here. This is amazing.
This is art.
It's art.
This is art.
We're going to work on this project.
The body positive art project. See that?
Look at that.
There it is, folks.
You made my day.
You know what I don't understand about you, Boston Bad Boy?
The greatness of my intellect.
This is not the first time you've pulled this type of stunt.
Pulled what?
No.
I said.
No, hold on.
Did you just hear the excitement in her voice?
Wait a second.
That she would have the chance to pose nude with the Boston Bad Boy. Did you understand how excited that was? Woo!
Let me stop that. We had Smiley on, who won the lap dance contest at the porn convention.
She was all into.
You didn't know how to behave yourself.
She loved it.
April Hunter.
Also, loved my interview
a good
skills.
friend of mine, and you completely acted like a
you
fool
don't have any friends
with her.
Let's start
I have a lot of friends.
Yeah, okay.
Sugar and Spice, Alexa and Brianna. You acted like a fool
incredibly
with them
talented.
Too. What is your problem? You cannot do an interview with a woman, especially a model, without tripping all over yourself.
I didn't listen. Was she not laughing and inviting herself to have a nude photo session? I think I won that conversation, and you could learn a thing or two about a thing or two.
No, this is
okay.
Listen,
because you were just stepping on you. Oh, let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about
let's
this
be
girl wants to
professional.
talk about her art. She wants to talk about body positive. She wants to talk about being naked. Who are we to stop her?
Stop it.
You're unbelievable.
She doesn't need to be naked with you. Okay.
Listen, I don't care where she's naked. That ain't my problem.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying is, if she's excited to come hang out with me, who am I to stop?
We're going to have to come up with some guidelines here for the Boston
You're
Bad
going to
Boy
have to
folks,
come up with some way to get your head straight because the fact
my
that
head straight.
That's because the fact that you can't deal with this interview and my animal magnetism. You're going to have to figure it out because that's just the way it is, Jack.
Oh, my God. And what was that nonsense you said you wanted? So, folks, when we hung up the phone, when we tried to hang up the phone, he kept talking to her. I had to cut off the feed, but go ahead.
Well, I just thought it would be nice if she could draw me like one of her French girls.
Hi, this is Earl Oliver from Solely Finish Wrestling.
This is Raj Giri with WrestlingInc.com.
This is Sean Reed, boxing writer and undercover low-key wrestling fan, and you're listening to Duke Loves Wrestling. Woo!
All right, Boston Bad Boy. So during Run the Ropes, we mentioned the #1 story in the world of professional wrestling, and that's the WWE listening to the fans.
No.
What?
No, they're not listening to the fans. They're listening to the sponsors.
Okay.
They don't care. Listen, the WWE obviously doesn't care about what the fans want.
Here we go with your negative attitude.
I made this point earlier.
You're being negative again.
If the WWE cared about the fans at all, a diversity in the roster would reflect the diversity of the audience, and it doesn't.
They're getting
Never
there.
mind
They're
gender
getting
split.
There. Can we get some credit for at least making a difference and making a change?
As Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. Just do it. They've got enough money. They've got enough money.
This
That's
is
why,
why,
and this whole thing, like they didn't see this coming in the Me Too year. They're going to do this thing with Moolah. Explain what's going on, please.
All right.
Set up your boys.
All right. And what I want you to do is keep an open mind, Boston Bad Boy, because you're very negative today.
You assume I ever had an open mind,
well,
but
that's
go ahead.
Part of the problem here. So, WrestleMania is coming up, and as we know, it's the granddaddy of them all. It's the biggest event. It's the Super Bowl of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
The Fabulous Moolah is considered the greatest female wrestler of all time, especially in WWE lore.
And by that, we mean WWE propaganda, but continue.
Oh, jeez.
Continue. No, go ahead. Don't let me stop you.
Yeah, please. Well, stop stopping me. So they come up with this concept that they're going to have a battle royal at WrestleMania, female battle royal, and they're going to name it after Moolah. Fans revolt.
Yes.
They're very upset about this.
Do you know why?
There's been some information that's come out.
What do you mean that's come out?
Well,
it's well known for years since this woman who's been cold in the grave for quite a while.
And not to toot our horn, but this show was ahead of this whole deal going back over a year, where we put out some information, first-hand account of who the Fabulous Moolah is and how she treated people.
Let me just give a summary here.
Okay.
The Fabulous Moolah was a pimp. P-I-M-P.
That's a very strong word.
Listen to me. Many years ago, you lent me a book by Iceberg Slim called Pimp.
Yes.
And it was one of the first best-selling novels by an African-American author, and it outlined this guy's life in like the 30s and 40s and probably into the 50s and 60s of being an actual pimp.
Yes.
Now, that term is thrown around a lot, but we need to lay this groundwork here. And tell me if I'm wrong. A pimp is a person who takes another person. It doesn't have to be a woman. It doesn't have to be a man, woman. It can be anything. Traditionally, that's what it's been applied to. They put that person out to work for them and basically keeps them as an indentured servant. And they make money, and you take a big enough cut of it that you have to keep them coming back for more. Now, usually, these are not nice people who do this. Hence, the Moolah, not a nice person. As a matter of fact,
the Moolah.
There's a very strong four-letter word I'd like to use.
Stop it.
But I won't.
Stop it. She first of all, she's passed away. So don't speak ill of the dead.
Worms are eating her brain right now, if we're lucky.
Wow.
So, the Fabulous Moolah was operationally a pimp. And furthermore, she dealt with Vince McMahon Sr., who employed her pimping services as a pipeline not only for new wrestlers, but to grease the wheels in the business back in the day. Did he not have an exclusive contract?
Yes.
Okay, which we're going to get into because, again, we have a first-hand account of all this. I'm not making this up. We spoke to somebody who was there, an actual legend in wrestling, Susan Tex Green, who went out and worked for a living, unlike Moolah, who pimped for a living. It's disgusting.
Well, all right. Take it easy here because it's not like Moolah didn't have her own accomplishments, which is why we are all these years later.
Accomplishments. Wrestling is fake now, and it was fake back then.
Hey, take it easy.
So, here's the thing. She was working like everybody else was working. Until, we're going to find out actually, let's find out when it all turned for her. Because we have a clip here from when we interviewed Tex Green, and she talks about the day it all turned for Moolah, and it's very satisfying.
All right, well, let's just play the clip.
Dallas, Texas. It was at the old Sportatorium. Many a story from the old Sportatorium. Everybody loved the place, but it was hotter than Hades. And it was an old theater that you walked down into the pit. So everybody was up on levels for the seating arrangement. And Dory Funk was the world champion, and he was wrestling Ivan Putski. And an hour time limit, a one fall, and I was wrestling the Fabulous Moolah, a one fall, 45-minute time limit. And they said, go as much as you can and make it look good. And it was like, all right, whatever. We're standing in the middle of the ring, and of course they flew Mike Mazurki, which he's the man that played Frankenstein back in the movies in the 60s.
That's right. Oh, wow. Wow.
He's a special referee for both the main events. So I'm sitting there, and of course, we walk out to the center of the ring to get the instructions from the referee like we did back in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there with my hat on and my jacket, and she reaches up and just slaps the fire from me. My head spins around, and I look back at her. She turns around and pissing off, and Mike Mazurki said he saw the fire come from my eyes and the smoke coming out of my ears because I just sit there and beat me if you can. And I can't say that in any match that I had with her, if people look back on the matches that were recorded, I always dove off the top rope, and she would roll and I would miss her, and she would roll over and pin me. Could I have kicked out? Oh, yeah. I knew how to land on my belly, and I knew how not to hurt myself.
Mm.
I got her dead center of the ring, and when I hooked her, she looked up at Mike and said, how long? And I went, about 23. You're going to sit there and lay there like you're doing nothing because it don't look like I'm doing anything. I'm just sitting there, but the more you wiggle, the worse it's going to hurt you, and it could actually dislocate her hips.
Whoa.
What I had her in, the Indian Deathlock. I actually took the belt, and I actually got pictures. You know, she flew out of Dallas that night, going back to South Carolina, and they called Sam Mushnick, which was president of the NWA. And he sat there and said, well, don't worry about it, Fritz, just tell Moolah to beat her tomorrow night in Fort Worth. And he said, that's just it, she can't. Moolah boarded the plane back to South Carolina.
There it is. Moolah took her ball and went home because she couldn't just go and take the belt back because Tex Green would have snapped her neck.
Now, in all honesty here, and let's be truthful, that is completely putting yourself ahead of the business. And I love Tex Green. She's a friend of mine and what have you.
Get the hell out of here.
Well, give me a break.
No,
seriously.
Give me a break because there's more to this story. Now, there's more to this story on many levels. But what's most egregious is what happened next after Tex made a point. Now, there's a reason why she hooked her, okay? We're getting to that. There's a reason why someone like Tex, an accomplished wrestler, very smart person, decided to put her career on the line. But what makes it more egregious is what happened after that. And she talks about it right here.
Mr. McMahon Sr. called me and sat there and said, could he send a plane ticket for me to fly? And I said, round trip. And, of course, when I walked in the office and there she sat, it was like, what are you doing here? And he said, well, what we're going to be talking about concerns her. And I said, well, I'm sure I already know that. You know, and he got to talking, and I sat there and said, the deal was, what's it going to take for you to give Moolah her belt back? And I said, that's the magic word, give. There's no way she's going to beat me for this belt. As I was sitting there talking, I sat there and said, well, Mr. McMahon, it's going to be like this. I never have to wrestle her again. I don't have to pay her a percentage anymore. I will act like I'm paying the percentage, but whenever I drive in, whatever night I drive in, whatever time it is, I expect to have my money in cash when I ring that doorbell. And I said, and we need to get this all in writing, and I know you got attorneys and paralegals to where they can pull it up now. So he had to send for the attorneys that were in the office and paralegals in to draw up the paperwork. And I said, and I will get a picture of me handing the belt back to her.
So you talk about strong-arm tactics here. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, rightly so.
You got the top promoter in the world, and here she is making demands.
Listen, I got to say, she's ballsy. I love Tex Green.
Sure.
And again, let's follow the storyline here. She hooks Moolah, who's the biggest name in the business at that point for women wrestling. Moolah cries and tells Vince Sr., I want the belt back.
Stop it.
So Vince flies her from Texas to New York. And who's sitting at the desk? There's Moolah. And they have this thing, and she's not taking any shit from anybody. And she says, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want a picture of me handing it back. She didn't win it from me. I'm giving it back. Now, like I said before, that's a whole career on the line.
Sure.
It's a whole career on the line.
Sure.
What would push somebody to that point?
And that's, well...
What would push someone to that point? You know what would push someone to that point? Someone who is being pimped.
Again with that word.
Because we know for a fact that when Tex Green was working at side business to make a living, driving a truck, this woman was wrestling and driving a truck to make ends meet. Moolah wanted 40% of her driving a tow truck. And she said, I'm not giving you a friggin' dime. I don't work for you when I'm driving the truck.
But that's the way it worked back then.
That's pimping. Don't give me that's the way it worked.
Come on.
That's not the way it worked. A lot of things were back then. Don't give me that, oh, it was back then. Oh, we could say this back then. We could do that back then. That doesn't fly.
That's the way the business worked. If you had other
the business was wrong then, and it's wrong now.
All right, fine.
You want to know how bad it was? Listen to this.
Now, mind you, when you lived on Moolah's grounds, or compound, and we later, all the girls that lived there would call it the prison camp, and she was a warden.
Oh, boy.
Because she had shut the front gate and you couldn't get out of it. She had chains across the back exits, and I said, I learned to put a 2x4 under it and drive my tour ringer out from under it.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
I love it.
You can't keep me. I'm going another way.
Damn right. Damn right.
Copy that, good buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he called me, and I sat there and said, and we weren't allowed to have phones. If we made phone calls, we had to go to her house and make the phone call from the kitchen where everybody sat. And I sat there, and before my mother had left that June 10th of 71, she had a phone put in the trailer that I was living in. And she said, there's no sense in that. She says, no, because if she wants to be able to leave, she can call and say she's on her way, and it is the way that we do. And, of course, my mother gave me the Exxon credit card and said, you don't have to have money to come home. And, well, you don't have to do that, you know. And it's like, you know, we're going to be paid up. She's going to have enough food to last a month. And if she don't like it, she can leave. So Lillian didn't agree with the way that I was brought up. She wanted, you know, I was brought up to be independent. And if I thought I was big enough to be a wrestler, you know, then I had enough sense. And my parents did teach me to stand on my own 2 feet, you know, and to be responsible for what I did.
There it is. Without good parenting, let me just say, by Susan Green's parents, she would have been another victim of this woman, Moolah's, pimp game going on. Not only was it disgusting that she basically had indentured servants living on a compound where they weren't allowed to use the phone or leave when they wanted to, she was a pipeline for Moolah's girls to Vince McMahon Sr. and all the other guys running territories. Now, for wrestling, yeah, they were always wrestling and doing gigs. You know there was other shit going on.
Well, according to first-hand accounts, yes, there's been those allegations, and who am I to say that that's not true?
Oh, yeah, let Moolah come from beyond the grave and smote me right now if it's not true. Whoa. Oh, that didn't happen. She was a pimp. She does not... And WWE has such a long road to hoe to get up to speed on women's issues, never mind racial issues and everything else. They do not need to make this. This is a classic Vince McMahon stepping in it.
Don't blame him.
Because he is so out of touch.
Don't
He's so
blame
out of touch.
Vince on this. We don't know if he made the decision to name
get out. All you talk about is how Vince is the last word, and it's Vince's company,
but
and Vince is my best friend.
He's pulling back. We talked about the fact that he's pulling back.
Yeah,
he's got
it's
the
not
XFL
because
coming.
Listen,
all this stuff.
Any idiot, you, me, any idiot could say, you know, that's not a great idea. She was a pimp. We shouldn't put her name on it. It took pressure to the pocketbook for him to do a damn thing, as always, because that is his God.
She's a Hall of Famer. Okay, it makes sense to name something after a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and
okay?
so isn't the other sexual assaulter, Donald Trump. All right,
boy.
He is in the Hall of Fame too. Okay, so what does that tell me? That's another reason that the Hall of Fame's a sham.
Can we not disrespect the Hall of Fame? Let's stick to the topic.
Let me say alleged sexual assaulter Donald Trump.
So the fans spoke. The fans spoke. WWE listened. Okay, kudos to the WWE for taking the fans seriously and doing the right thing, because WrestleMania is only a couple of weeks away. They were advertising this thing. They changed the name to the WrestleMania.
It doesn't matter. I don't care.
Royal.
They should change it to the Snickers. Are you hungry from? I don't care. They should have known better to begin with. It's ridiculous that it had to go to a petition and the fans had to say, "Hey, this is disgusting.
Why
we don't
is
want
that
to look
ridiculous?
at it."
That's a democracy, pal. That's how it works.
Business isn't a democracy, dummy.
Well,
it's not how it works.
It is this time.
Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden, Vince wants a democracy running his
because
business.
He cares
that's
about
okay.
the fans.
He's going to sell his business out from under his own kids, but now he wants a democracy. You're out of your mind.
You know what? This is why the Boston bad boy has it in his mind that Vince McMahon and the whole WWE is the most evil thing in the world. And it's like, hey, you know,
like every other evil corporation,
people make mistakes sometimes.
Make mistakes
and give
sometimes.
them an opportunity to fix it.
He put her in the Hall of Fame. I'm done with you. I'm done.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.
Thank you for Loli Luxe for joining us this week.
Yes, thank you.
Shout out to the
Highlight
Pro Wrestling
of my
Hall
day.
of Famer, Susan Tex Green.
Yeah.
We brought her.
Now, Tex is in the real Hall of Fame.
She's in the real Hall
That's
of Fame.
right, where she belongs.
Okay. Head over to Facebook and Twitter. Check out Duke Loves Wrestling. Let us know what you think of the show. I got to get out of here because the Boston bad boy, he is just not in a good mood.
Yeah, don't do me any favors.
No, but you know
Listen,
what?
I got to go home.
You go over. We'll go overboard
I'm going to go home.
sometimes.
I'm going to do some manscaping so that when we have our photo shoot.